So on the other day, I was reading about the React table, the newer version. They renamed it to 10 stack table. And yeah, I was reading about this library and the documentation for it. And you can consider that I do not have a more experience or whatever, but I was not able to create a React table just by clicking the get started and reading the documentation. I mean, for me it was a little bit confusing, so I thought, like, let's go back to the older version. I tried to use the older version, and then I thought, like, why I need to use the older version? Why? Because this older version will anyway going to deprecate in a future time, for the newer version. And then I thought, like, is it possible to create a React table from the scratch by myself? And with try and error, I was able to do it. I'm not saying that I build the exact what they have in this library is built by hundreds of the developer who are really good at the React. They have applied many changes, they have fixed the bugs, they make it performance fast. But my idea is, like, I was able to build a simple React table. Okay, and that's what we are going to build. I know those how to do it, and I'm now sharing with you. I'm still asking you that if you are going to build a table in one of the production application in which you are working, please use React table instead of building it from the scratch. But this is for the learning purpose. Okay, so first thing first, I already created a React application with the name React table component, because it is taking a time. I mean, I created a video before this, and I just, I mean, it is taking a time. So I already created a React application before this video. Okay, and I already opened this in a Visual Studio Code. The application is running, and yeah, we have this usual output, the default output. For the purpose of displaying the data, I'm going to use this API, because we are not going to do with the mock JSON file. We will actually use you actually use this endpoint to fetch the data, and then in the future we will going to add search functionality as well as the pagination and so on. That being said, let's get started. Within a src folder, let's go inside the app file. I renamed this file from app.js to app.jsx. Okay, this is the only thing I've done. Let me remove this, and let's add app, and then I'm going to print h1 products, then export default app, and let's see, we should get this output, okay, in a browser. And yeah, it is working. Now what we are going to do is we are going to call this endpoint. Okay, and we know how to call an API in a React, right? So first thing first, we need to use the use effect. But before that, the data that we will going to get, the data that we will going to fetch from this endpoint needs to be stored somewhere. So for that, I will going to use const, and let's call it products, because we are saving products data, right? Set products, and then use state, and then by default it will be an array, empty array, because we are going to get a list of the products. And then yeah, we can use effect. Use effect will going to have the function, and then the dependencies. It will be a blank for us for now. So let's do over here we are going to use simple fetch. I don't see any other I don't want to make this any other confusing, because we are already creating something, and if I use few other library, you need to take care about those library as well as how to build the React table. I don't want to make this confusing. So fetch, then we are going to have the method will be get, and then I'm going to set the header as well. Okay, as usual, we will going to define the accept, and we will going to write the application slash JSON. Okay, JSON, and then content type. Although we are in a script, but there is a content type has a dash, so I need to type within it like this: content type, and then application slash JSON. Then after that, we will going to get the data, or we will going to get the response. We need to convert this response as to JSON, and then once it is converted, we can we can have the data. And This will provide us a, for example, object. This is the data, and within an object we have these products. So I need to write data dot product, and I need to set it products, okay, like this. And look like this is our simple use effect that will call the endpoints, and we have the output, sorry, we have the response back in products. Now what I want to do is I want to display a table with this information, okay. We will go simple. I don't want to make things confusing. Let's go simple one at a time, and then we will make complicated things later once we know everything. The idea is make it work and then make it optimize or make it better, okay. So over here, uh, like this, within over here I'm going to create a table. Let me save this so that we have correct way to see the JSX. Within a table, let's add t head. Within a t head we will going to have the tr. Within a tr we will going to have the th. Over here we are going to display few columns. For example, we are going to display id. Let's make it id. Over here we are just displaying, these are the headers, so let's make it a little bit more readable. So title will be like title, then th. We will going to have the description, okay. Then what we have, price, okay. Let's price. Then what we can add, let's add the rating. Then and finally let's add the brand, okay. Then that's it. I mean, these are the only things that we are trying to show for now. If I go back to the React application, yeah, we are seeing this. Let's make it a little bit more look good. I mean, what I can select. So I will going to add the div, and then I'm going to write the inline style. Again, we are more interested in table components, so I'm just writing this inline style, but that is not what you should do when you are working in a real project, okay. So style, let's set the width, how about 90 percentage, and I need to write it within a double quote, and then margin auto. This will make uh, this will make this a center align, okay, like this. You see, we will going to have, okay, now it is good. For the table, although it is a table, it does not look like a table, so I'm going to use for now border. Again, what I am doing is just for the learning purpose. You should not do it. You should have some css style or css styles like tailwind or bootstrap, or you build some css style and use classes or maybe styled component and use those style component over here, okay. So now let's see, yeah, let's make this width equal to 100 percentage, and now it is working. Now it is, I mean, it is displaying a little bit what I guess a little bit good than what we previously had, okay. So over here we are going to display now the data, actual data. It will be within a t body, and for this we are going to display the row, and for that we need to run the map. I mean, we need to go we need to look through these products. So products dot map, let's call it product. I mean, this is how we normally do, right? For example, this is the plural, and when we are looping over the plural, we will going to give a single as a singular name. And over here I'm going to write I'm going to return, it will be a tr. Within a tr we are going to return a td. Within a td, product dot id, right? So I mean, for the id we will going to display the id, and when I say id, I'm talking about this now, this key in a response, okay. So td, I'm sorry, not th, it should be td product dot, we will going to have the title td, then again product dot description, then td. We will going to have product dot price td, product dot rating, if you are trying, if you are trying with me, I mean, if you're also writing the code with me, you can pause, and then you can type out by yourself, like what to do, and then you can play the video again, so you will be with me. I'm intentionally typing this in front of you. I don't have a plan to skip some part, except that creating a reactor, because that is not something interesting. That is a boring thing. Okay, so this is how it will going to looks. And if we go over here and if we see the output, and yeah, this is correct. We are seeing the table. We are seeing this table. Okay, we have write down over here the table looks fine. We are write down over here the table is, this is the table, but we need to create this table as a component. Why? Because it might possible that in a future we need to use this same looking table at the other places. We are displaying the table for the product. In future we might want to display a table of categories or a table of users and so on, right? So what we need to do is we need to make this a reusable component. The important thing that we need to care, the important thing we need to consider over here is, like, when we are using the same table component, the table column will be different, and based on the table column we will have the different data, right? So these are the two dynamic content that we will going to have in our table component. But I mean, these are the two main important. We may have a few other things, but these are the two main important dynamic content that we will have in a reusable table component. So let me remove this from here and place it over here. Okay, let's say const columns, and I will going to select this, and I select id, I said title. What I'm doing is, like, actually I am removing this text from here and putting over here, and then what I'm going to do is I will going to look through and build this. So title, then description, then we will going to have the price, then rating, brand. Okay, so we have this. Now let me copy this here and over here. So control V dot map, again, like I mentioned, we will going to write over here the singular form, and then what it will going to do is like this, and then it will return what it will going to return a th, right? Th, and then over here it will going to return column. Let's see, yeah, and it is working fine. Yep, it is working fine. So that means whatever we write is working. Of course we will going to get some warning. It is about key, so 1 second, and yeah, it is about key. So let's fix it. Over here I'm going to add what will be the key. For now the key will be the column. I don't like it. For now let's have it. If I reload this page again, and let's see, we get it again. Yeah, we get it again, because we are running the map here as well as here. So key will be, in this case, a product.id, and that's it. That is the correct, right? This is what we should have. Let's clear this out. Let's reload the page, and let's confirm that it is working fine, and we are not seeing any warning. And yeah, it is. Next, it might possible that we don't want to display these two things. Okay, like this, and yeah, it is working fine, but not in a data. So the idea about this dynamic part is, somehow whatever we are displaying in a column should be related with our data. I mean, let's say if I only have a 4 column, then we should not display this information on here, this information within a table. So we need to make some connection between this column header and this column data. How about we can write over here? I mean, let me show you this, and then I will give you an idea. So for example, like this, over here I will going to call, this is something that we are going to display, or we are going to show it over here. So let's call it header. Okay, we can give any name we like, but let's call it header. Okay, and then I will going to define over here, let's say, key. I mean, we can give any name we like. For now I have mentioned this key. This key will be this part, or the part that we are getting in a API response. This is the key. Okay, I can write over here like this ID. What that means is I have somehow make a relationship between what we are displaying as a table, or sorry, column header, and what we are getting as a response, right? Response key name. For now, let's do it, and then we will see how we will going to use this relation. Because but anyway, we need to make this relation, right? Because otherwise we will not have some connection between this, right? The header and the data. So let's do it over here. For header, we will going to do the same for the title, and then key will be again title. This is something we are getting from the API response. Then header, let's call it uh, description, and then key will be description, then header price. Let's call the key is equal to price. We have two more, let's add those as well over here, and those are the rating and brand. Okay, header, rating, key will be rating, and then we will going to have the header as a brand, and then key as a brand, right? And I think this is correct. Okay, it will not going to work over here. It is we are not getting the output. Why? Because these are now the object we are trying to render over here. The object, if you wanted to, I can write something like this, header. Might work, and yeah, it is working. You see. Now here is the thing. What we're going to do is over here. This is fine, right? This is fine. And while we are here, let's fix this as well. We will going to call it key. So we now have a unique key for the each header. So this is working, right? Okay, we are seeing this output twice because we have to remove. Let's see if I what I did wrong. I think things happen. Let's save this, and then what we are going to do is reload the page. If it is working, then fine. If it is not, we will fix it. But yeah, looks like it is working. So this is how we make this a dynamic. You see, we now have to run one loop over here, and we are getting the output. But we also need to make changes over here as well. Okay, first we are running through the loop of the products table, but within a product we want to display the information that we just mentioned over here. That is what is important. Let me tell you an example. This is working fine, right? Even though this is working fine, right? We can uh, this is working fine, but this is not like we want. What we need to do is we need to write something like this within a tr. Okay, within a tr over here we need to make this dynamic. Why we need to make this dynamic? Like I saw you in previously an example. Let's say we have a brand, then we are only going to display the data for the brand. If we have a description, then we will going to display the data for the description, otherwise not. So this needs to be a dynamic based on the column that we have chosen over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also run one more loop, and that will be on a columns map, then column. Okay, and then over here return what we're going to return td. Here I'm going to return the output. Okay, I want to return the output from the product, but for the particular column. Okay, for the particular column. If I go back here, something is not working. We will fix it, but this is what we want to do as a logic. Within a column specific, we are interested now in a key, because product is an array like this, and I want to fetch the value of, for example, descriptions value, or this one. So what I need to type over here is dot key like this. Okay, and if I do this, looks like it is working. And if that is the case, I can remove this hard-coded value from here. Let's see if it is working or not. Yes, it is working. Now here is the important thing. Here is the important. If I remove these two lines, let's comment it out. It is working. Even if I remove from, if I rearrange this from here to here, it will again work. You see, price is displaying correctly. Description is displaying correctly. So this is the dynamic functionality now we have achieved with our own our own React table component. We haven't created it, but we now have the logic in action. I'm going to control Z everything that I have done so far. So this is our output that we now have, but we now have with our own logic over here, right? Before we go further, it might possible that this is not something, it is working fine, but this is not something you needed. It might possible that you want to make this id a link, right? So how can we do it? It is quite simple. What I'm going to ask you is, like, we will going to have one more, let's say one more options over here, and let's call it compose. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm composing the header, or I'm composing, sorry, not a header, but I'm composing the data. Okay, so that's why I call it compose, but it doesn't matter. You can call it ABC or XYZ or whatever you like. I just say compose. How I need it, what I want to display over here. uh, I want to display, let's say, ID and title over here, and as a link. For now I'm going to use this href. Okay, I mean, we will going to use that nav link, or sorry, a link, not a nav link, but we will going to use the link from the React router DOM. But this is what I want to show you as an example. Over here I want to display, for example, ID, right? Plus I will going to add some space, and then I also want to display this title or whatever. I mean, the basic scenario for your table will be like, I want to display first name and last name together, and it will be a link. If I click on link, it should open that user detail or something. I'm just making some random scenarios over here, that I don't want to display ID, I want to display something else over here that consists of a link and few other fields from here, or one or two fields from here, and then I want to display the title. But by default we will not going to have this. How about make this like this, make this as like this? I'm still not good at English. Okay, so what is this D? D stands for the data, or you can call it ABC or XYZ or whatever. I just make it D. Okay, and then I select D.id, D.title. Let's assume that this compose will somehow provide the data, and when I say data, that means a single row when we are going through the iteration, when we are going through this iteration. Okay, so if I go over here, let's reload the page, nothing will happen, okay, as it is, because even though we have defined this over here, we are not getting any output, or we are not using this, and because of the reason we are not seeing any output related with this. What next? What is next? Simple. We need to use somewhere, right? So where we can use it, we need to use here within a data, because that's where we are going to display it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like this. If column has compose, let's see if it has, then we need to do something. Otherwise, have as it is. Okay, if I do this, things are fine. The output, I mean, things are fine. We are not now having anything for the ID, because ID has a compose. It just, this column data has shipped. I mean, brand is displaying over, price is displaying over here, and so on. But you get the point, right? You get the point. So we need to display something over here. What we need to display over here, we need to return first. Let's return this td. So td to remove this shifting. Okay, and looks like I have pasted it right at the other wrong place, so I now write this, and it is fine, but we are not seeing any output. What we need to do is we need to write something like this. Okay, so over here what we need to do is we need to write something that is quite simple, like, first, the thing is, compose is a function, so we need to call it, right? We need to call it. So I can, like, how can I call it? So column dot compose, and then I need to write the function, write this bracket, and this will call the function. But we have mentioned that we will going to pass the data, and what will be the data? We have this, right? The product. So let me type out here the product, and if that is the case, let's see. And yeah, looks like it is working. You see over here, we are seeing the one as well as the one over here. We are displaying like this. We can make it more. I mean, we can remove this now. You get the idea, right? But we can make it like this over here, and these are now link. We can make this something like this as well. Let's do it. Backticks would be over here, then slash, then this d.id, or we can do something like this as well. Products, right? And now we have our products.5, products 8, and products 10. So with this, we just create a simple but interesting table component. I mean, we haven't yet created file. We have write everything within a f.file. Let's do it. Okay. So I'm going to call it table.jsx const table, then this, return, and then here export. We're going to default and this table. From here, I'm going to cut this complete table component or table structure from here, and I will going to paste it over here. Okay. There are two props that we need to pass. First is the column, and the second is the products. I mean, column is fine, right? Columns is fine, but let's not call it products. Instead, let's call it data. Okay. So let me copy this data, and this is the only one places where we are using. So I'm going to call it data. If product, at all the places of the product, let's call it D. Okay. And then over here, I'm going to use table, and then like this. It will not work. It will throw an error, or it will not going to display anything, but we know the reason, right? We need to pass columns. Columns will be columns, right? This is what we're going to need to pass, and for the data we need to pass products. And if that is the case, we are seeing the output. And this is how we just created a table component in a React. And we can select a dynamic we can select the column that we would like to select, and if we want to make the modification, we can also make the modification over here as well using a compose. Okay. And looks like it is looks like, yeah, this is for these are the we are good with this video. Maybe in the next video, or maybe in a future video, I will going to add a search functionality. Then maybe we will going to add some paginess and so on. For now, thank you.